For the last few weeks, we have been bringing in candidates ahead of Election Day, and right now I'm joined by Dave Raithel, Democratic candidate in the 44th Missouri House District, which now covers the eastern and southern parts of Boone County. Dave, thank you so much for joining us here in our studio today.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Well, let's start off by having you tell viewers a little bit about yourself.
Very briefly, I'm a 67-year-old veteran, husband, father, and grandfather. I came to Boone County first in 1977 to go to school here at Mizzou, and long story short is I've got married, started a family. Over the years, people ask me what I've done. Over the years, I've been a musician, a philosopher, a farmhand, and a truck driver. And I say that because those are all the things I did that I made money doing. And I'm now running for, as you said, the House Representatives in the 44th District. On account, I think the country is a bit troubled. I do not much care for my opponent's tendency to glom onto conspiracy theories. And that is a primary reason I got involved. Not the fact that she's exceptionally conservative. In a conservative district, that's not sufficient reason. The problem is we can't depend upon her to think responsibly.
So, you know what, we'll keep talking about your opponent here. You say that Representative Reich serves a political religious sect.
Yes.
Explain, what do you mean by that?
I would say that her principal thinking about politics is to enforce her religious convictions and a religious perspective on other persons. And I contrast that to the fact that you don't hear about Amish running for office to take power on the grounds that everyone else should ride around in a horse and carriage. That's what I mean. She doesn't have a sense of living in a republic where people of differing faiths have to accommodate one another. She has no problems and has said in public that she makes some policy decisions based upon her religious convictions and not on what other people would say is objective evidence. So that's what I'm getting to on that point.
Okay. Yeah. How do you think redistricting will affect the race for the 44th?
Well, we all know that the 44th is the geographically largest of the districts in Boone County, and it is the most conservative. So again, the fact that I can be a pro-choice gun owner who believes in universal background checks, it isn't really a good reason to get involved in a race that's so conservative. The two things are, the first one, her willingness to glom onto conspiracy theories and doubt election integrity and the kitty litter nonsense that she endorses. But the fact that the Supreme Court did overturn Roe v. Wade, and the extremism of her position didn't affect Missourians when Roe v. Wade was still the law. So now we do in fact have people in Boone County who normally think of themselves as Republican saying this has gone too far. People who would normally describe themselves as pro-life do not understand there being no exception for rape or incest or fetal abnormalities which will not result in a viable birth. Okay. So on those 2 points, she may have crossed the line where independent thinking people are going to say, send Dave Raithel to Jefferson City and see if he delivers on his promise to be a responsible legislator. And if he doesn't do that, he'll be easy enough to get rid of in 2 years.
Well, another question for you. Okay, you say that you'll use reason and public evidence in Jefferson City. Elaborate on this first.
Well,
what does that mean?
Let's take the case of the kitty litter. The claims that she makes that there are kitty litter boxes being put in Smithton and Oakland and in Hickman High School. And she claims she has evidence but cannot relieve it. We're in a situation now where two public officials, one of them is speaking falsely. If the superintendent of the school district says this is not happening and the state legislator says that it is, somebody's not telling the truth. Or I don't know I'm not going to say anybody's lying because I can't get in their mind, but we have a problem here with public officials saying things which can't not be both true. That's what I mean when we have to have reason and evidence. You don't go to Holy Scripture to determine whether or not what she's saying is true.
What kind of gun control do you think Missouri needs?
Well, I'm one of those people who would never have let AR-15s and AK-47s in the public hands. They're already out there, so I'm not sure what to do about that. Most generally, I would say, when I talk about background checks, we have to have some way of assessing someone's background, and in fact giving young people long enough time to accumulate a background. It's pretty unrealistic to decide it's safe to give an AR-15 to someone who's 18 years old and when there's no other adult around that we can make any reference to for whether or not that's a safe and reasonable thing to do. I'm also in favor of what I would call red flag laws. It seems to me that if your neighbor is giving signs of being suicidal and they've got guns, you should be able to call somebody and say, hey, go check on this person. Maybe they should have their firearms taken for a while, until we know they're okay. Little things like that. But this is this is Missouri. I have no interest in bothering people who hunt. I have no interest in bothering people who keep firearms in their homes for personal safety. But people have got to start accepting the fact that guns are a particular kind of tool. They're a tool for killing. They're not for making peace. They're for keeping the peace in the most terrible of circumstances. And they should be regulated as those kinds of particularly dangerous tools.
All right. Dave Raithel, thank you so much for joining us. We are out of time right now. But if you would like to see more of our candidate interviews, you can always check those out on abc17news.com.